90%, no droids, bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no Kyle Ron fans of any kind. This is about Star Wars for Star Wars fans, real Star Wars fans, not ST loving, Kyle Ron loving rodents, all 5 of them that still think it's awesome. All right, so let's talk. This is going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, Mexican Iron Man, don't watch. Not until after you've seen it. So we get to the beginning, and Boba Fett, it starts out with a flashback. And Fett gets on a bantha, bantha, and goes to talk to the Clitonians, or not the Clitonians, but the Pike Syndicate. Basically says, I'm in charge now, the same people are in charge, you need to go away. And, he leaves, and the Pike is looking at him like, you are so dead, you have no idea how dead you are. And Boba Fett gets back, and I called this. He gets back and finds the tribe that he had befriended and become part of gone. Okay. Then we get into the present, because he's laying in his Bacta tank, and all of a sudden Black Chrysanthemum reaches in, pulls him out, and starts beating the living shit out of him. You want action? There you go. Now, Boba Fett, without his jetpack, without all of his weapons, Tamara Morrison for his age looks damn good. But he's not gonna be able to fight. He's, first off, how old is he? And he's, all right, someone in one of my, hey John, someone in one of my, someone somewhere said he's 41 during Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I know a lot of 41-year-olds that can kick ass. They're not falling apart. So, but he's hurt. He was in Bacta for a reason. He's resting and recuperating and healing more. And, which is a plot point I think the naysayers are ignoring. That is right out of the precious EU. Okay, you can't say this isn't blood. We should go blood. It's like, there are people out there that I'm going to tell people who are listening to these EU people. I'll talk about that, John. There are a lot of people that say they know the EU. But when you bring up, like, I saw somebody say, well, he came out of the Sarlacc and kicked ass. Major downer for that person. He lost a leg, so I don't know what he was kicking. He was a one-legged man kicking ass. Okay? He lost a leg. In fact, he went from a bionic leg to a cloned leg. All right. The wounds and the injuries from the Sarlacc, both physical and mental, didn't go away. All right? We're dealing with this now with the Bacta. That's what you should be thinking about. Why is this tough guy having to eat Bacta? Okay? That's a big deal. All right? So, and we see him in a different light. Like, all right, so Black Chrysanthemum is beating the shit out of him. Then the Gamorreans show up, and they start fighting Black Chrysanthemum. And then it spills out into the throne room, and Boba that Wookiee just threw him around like a rag doll. Which is, when something's that big and that strong, I don't care if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger at his finest. That thing has denser muscle. It's bigger. It probably weighs about 400, 500 pounds. All right. Fighting a Wookiee that size is like trying to fight a fucking brown bear. Go have fun doing that. Okay, go. Then come and tell me if you survive. Hey, Matt Piranha. Then, finally, Fennec Shand opens up the Rancor pit door. Chrysanthemum's standing on it. He's holding on, and then she hits him with a knife, throws a knife at his hand, and he falls into the pit. So he's down there, he's imprisoned. And so Boba is having dinner, and it looks like a feast, and they're eating things I wouldn't eat. There's a couple of things stuffed on the table that I would have gone, no, I'll just have a piece of fruit, thank you very much. And I eat anything, but I hold the line at lizards, okay? Anyway, and they're having a strategic talk. Fennec Shand basically says, we need, they're having a talk, and Boba says, I need to make a statement. And then as they're talking, the droid comes up and says, hey, guess what? The twins are here. So Boba gets into his armor, walks out, and there's the twins whose names we don't know. And basically they leave him a gift. Hey, JS, now here's a big spoiler. So if you were hyped up to see this, and you haven't seen the show yet, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, well, me either, Troy. Anyway, they bring him a gift, basically say they're giving up, and that they tell him that the Pikes have laid claim to Jabba's holdings on Tatooine and surrounding. I mean, we haven't really gotten around to everything else. I mean, Tatooine didn't make Jabba powerful. That was his seat of power. Okay, what made him powerful was he controlled the hyperspace lanes in that area. He controlled other systems. Okay, he was, in fact, I would say he had his fat fingernails even into, hey Trayla, even into Coruscant. Okay, we're talking about criminal enterprises. We're talking about organized crime. Okay, we're not talking about a bunch of thugs. When Michael Francis talks about the mafia, he talks about racketeers and mafia, and that's what he was. And then he talks about thugs. And when you look into the thugs were, they were Albert Anastasia. You look that name up and look what happened to him. They were Sammy the Bull Gravano. Okay, the guy has 15 people to his credit that he killed, personally, that he got away with. Okay, guy was a thug. He was also a very good businessman, but at the end of the day, he was Cosa Nostra through and through, and if you broke the rules, and they have rules, they're rules mobsters, he would go and kill you, okay? Period, full stop. All right, so Jabba employs thugs, and Boba Fett was a thug. I mean, that's what he was. Bounty hunters are no more special than a bank robber, in my opinion. I mean, if you have law and order, you don't really need people like that around. And in the Old West, they kind of gave off an air of distaste. And they weren't really, you know what I'm saying? They weren't really romanticized. And the reason why I hated him on sight is because as many Westerns as I watched, and the fact that I read every book about the Old West as I could, and I was very knowledgeable about the gunfighters. All right, it just that character rubbed me the wrong way. Especially since you knew he was being sent out by creepy evil assholes like Jabba. Okay, And when you're talking about human nature, Star Wars, people have a set view of what somebody should be. And when you Han Solo as the example, Luke had to mature and grow up to be a man and to be a Jedi. Leia was already a hero. What she had to do was come to her terms with herself as an adult woman. Okay, her journey was very different from Luke's. Okay, Han, if you look at the origin story, was basically lived in a world where you couldn't trust anybody, even as a little kid. He was abused badly by the guy he was in indentured servitude, which is why he hated slavery. He basically trusted no one but Chewbacca. Okay. And he really, and the things that shaped him, Garrus Shrike, the death of his Wookiee protector, Dulana, which really, logically, this is how he learned to understand Shrewok. Okay? He wasn't dumped in a pit with a flesh-eating Wookiee. Alright, that's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard in my life. So, Dulana's killed, protecting him. He escapes. He meets a girl. She's pretty. She's Corellian. And he's like, 14, 15 years old. He falls for her. Okay? And it's really interesting how she leaves him in the end. And he goes to the academy, which was his dream, and had saved his money up for it. And he gets kicked out. He gets court-martialed out of the Imperial Navy a few years later for not wanting to kill a Wookiee. He wouldn't do it. Dulana, he owed her, and it wasn't in him to do it. All right, there's already a basis for a good man there. Okay. Life had made him the stuff, hey Carlos, the stuff that he had run into in his life as a child and as a young man had given him a moral compass that at times he didn't really want to admit to. So he ends up with Chewbacca following him around, whether he wanted to or not, and they end up befriending each other and partners. But there's a lot of betrayal. Lando, of course, in The Empire Strikes Back, betrays him. Bria shows back up, and she's part of the Rebel Alliance. She's a pilot and a spy. They make a deal to free out these Corellian, young Corellians who are addicted and forced to work. They're slaves, and to steal a bunch of stuff, artifacts, to sell. She gets the smugglers of Nar Shaddaa to help her through Han. And in the end, because of the Death Star, Bria has to take everything. I mean, she and her Rebel Alliance people go and take everything. And Han basically tells her he's betrayed, he looks like a fool, and now everybody on Nar Shaddaa is going to be pissed off at him for getting them involved. In fact, a friend of his was killed during this operation. And he basically tells her, if I ever see you again, I'll kill you myself. All right. That's a hard man to say that to a woman he loved. But he was so betrayed and so just absolutely blown away that they would do that to them. And then, of course, the stuff with him having to dump spice that he was transporting from Kessel to Tatooine happens, and when he goes back to get it, it's gone. The Imperials took it and probably sold it themselves. So then he owes Jabba money. Han goes to Nar Shaddaa, runs into Lando. Lando punches him in the face. He lost a ship. He lost some stuff going on in that fight that they allied themselves to the Alliance. And Han's basically on his own just with Chewie. And he's up to his chin with all this shit. Then, at the lowest point, who does he run into when he's got to earn money to pay off Jabba? Old man Obi-Wan and this kid named Luke Skywalker. And then his life changes. And then he has to make moral choices again. Then he has to admit to who he really is. And the one person that is the biggest catalyst in his life for change is Leia. How does it go with Boba? Well, Boba isn't a bounty hunter anymore. And if you look at what was going on in the EU, a lot of this stuff is right out of the EU. He's hurt. In the EU he lost a leg, and he didn't lose a leg there. But we don't know what's going on with his insides. Okay. But if he exerts himself, he has to go to the Bacta tank. Now that could mean his lungs are damaged, which when you saw him take the air from the dead stormtrooper in episode 1, that should have been a hint. Okay, there's something going on here. This is not a healthy environment. It's not like you could have a campfire inside a sarlacc and, roast marshmallows, okay? So we're dealing with a guy who's wounded. The Hutts show up and they give him a gift. Here's the big spoiler. Again, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm not going to stop talking, but you can leave now, okay? The gift is a Rancor, a calf. And the person who's keeping it, the keeper, remember Malakili? The guy with the big beer belly? Crying after the Rancor was killed by Luke? This guy does the same job. And Mexican Iron Man, you better turn this off right now if you're watching. It's Danny Trejo. Okay, now I knew he was going to be in this. Something just kind of went, okay, everything's always going to be a secret with Lucasfilm, especially with Jon Favreau and the cameos. And that was a big damn cameo. So Boba gets a Rancor from the twins and a warning to just leave Tatooine and let the Pikes have it. Well, Boba's not going to do that. Okay, Boba's not going to do that. Tatooine is his. And also, I forgot to say this. Yesterday, Doomcock did a video about the Huttese K's written on the side of the two of them written on the side of the building. Well, when Boba came back and found his tribe gone, massacred, wiped out, guess what was on one of the tents? Another K. So the Clitonians were back. And I am going to leave this out there, and I'm going to raise this up with Doomy later. Was that a metaphor for what they did to Gina? Okay. Was it? Was that a metaphor for Rangers of the New Republic? Okay. A lot of it, you could read into things, and I think that's good for people to discuss these things. This is how you write a literature paper. This is how you write a good, in-depth critique of a movie or a TV show. Okay, especially if it's something based on fantasy like Star Wars, aka science fiction. Star Wars is not pure science fiction; it's fantasy too. Okay, so you've got the best of both worlds. So Boba's really got a vendetta now against the Clitonians, okay? And he is going to wipe them out. He is going to kill every one of them. And we already know that. But he's got this Rancor. Now, I have a theory. Danny Trejo introduces him to the Rancor, and he says they bond only with one person, and they're pretty peaceful animals unless they feel threatened. They're normally just bred for fighting. So what they have, this Rancor, and he takes the blinders off, and the Rancor focuses on Boba. Okay. Yeah, it could. I mean, John, go into that for me, because I like to see what you're saying. So anyway, when Boba leaves, because now the mayor, they have to go see the mayor again. Boba leaves. And Danny Trejo says, don't worry, he'll be back. But the look on his face wasn't exactly happy, joy. Don't worry. I mean, it's not like my husband telling my dog when he's running around looking for me if I'm gone, oh, Kojak, it's okay, mommy's coming home. It wasn't like that. So I think that there's a bomb about to go off, and I think it's the Rancor. I think that Rancor is bonded to Danny Trejo, and the shit's about to get real. Okay, that is a bomb to go off. The Hutts want Boba gone. So they go Machiavellian. They tell him to leave. They tell him that, the Pikes are back and just let them have it. Tatooine's just a rock. They're full of shit and they're lying. That gift wasn't a gift. Now, I'm going to say this. Yeah, it's basically a Trojan horse. Okay? I'm almost guaranteed that's what it was. Okay. Writing 101. Writing for film 101. So anyway, they go. Oh, and I forgot. A water seller shows up and bitches about this biker gang, the swoop bike gang, stealing water from him. Boba goes, recruits them, tells the water merchant lower prices. He says they owe me 1,500 credits. Boba throws him 500 and says he'll take it and like it. All right. He's Vito Corleone here. So anyway, he's got these kids working for him, and they've modified their bodies with droid parts, and I'm gonna say this, they got the coolest swoop bikes I've ever seen in my life. There's one light blue one that now I want. Okay, it's really cool. Anyway, so they go to see the mayor, fast forward, and the mayor's not there. And they get locked out of the mayor's chambers. And the major domo, the little dweeb. Yeah, it is. It is. The little dweeb takes off. But he gets chased by the kids on the swoop bikes, and they finally capture him. The end of it was you got one of the spies watching like 12, 15, 16, maybe 25 Clitonians, or not Clitonians, Pikes come off a transport, which they called it a cruise liner. Oh, they tried so hard to sell that fucking, I'm sure Jon Favreau was going, do I have to do this? Oh, I loved them. I thought they were great. I thought the bikes are just awesome. But I want to talk about, again, the hate for this show. First off, again, the EU people talking to people who haven't read the EU, who are convincing people to hate it are only giving half the story. They know perfectly well why that Bacta tank is there. And they know perfectly well why Boba needs it. Okay? Now, the fact that he got up and walked away from Black Chrysanthemum beating the living fuck out of him shows he is a tough guy. That he can take a beating and walk away from it. Well, what do you want? Okay? He tells Black Chrysanthemum when he lets him go, stop working for, basically, I'll paraphrase, the scum of the earth. It's not worth it. So Chrysanthemum leaves. I give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it was good, but it felt like filler, Polly. But I gotta say, I called it. That tribe was gonna be wiped out, and I knew it. I said, he's gonna come back and find them all dead. And he's gonna know that the Clitonians did it. Again, another case showed up on one of the burned out tents. Okay? That's a big deal. Doomcock did a video about that and credited somebody that you know with pointing him out to the double case in the first episode. Okay? And I said this could be allegory for what Kennedy did to Carano and the new and Rangers of the New Republic. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. Those K's, there are people who love her at Lucasfilm who knew exactly what that was. That would have got him fired. That would have got Rodriguez kicked off the set. It didn't. All right? That was blatant, in your face, fuck you, bitch. Okay, sorry for swearing. But that's what it was. And I can safely say that if you piss off a Generation Xer, you're going to get it back tenfold. All right? We're the ones now that are the CEOs. We are the ones leading the soldiers for well and good. We're the ones that run companies. We're the ones that do a lot of shit that we don't get any songs for. Okay? And Jon Favreau has been well known to go after executives that have fucked with him making other movies. Like that movie Chef, which is a good movie and you should see it. Basically, it's about a well-known great chef who is running a restaurant and the owner is just invasive, intrusive, forcing him to do things he doesn't want. It was basically allegory about what the executives were trying to do to Iron Man 2. That's what it was. Okay. Favreau wasn't afraid of these people. And he's certainly not afraid of Kennedy. So those K's showing up, that is blatant up yours, bitch. And I love it. I love it. And it proves that he is now in charge of Star Wars. If not even Lucasfilm itself. Okay. I mean, they gave him the movies, for crying out loud. Kind of makes you go, you know, and Doomy and Cameron like to say, where is the official word that her contract has been signed? We know she's there, but in what capacity? And before I get back to why people hate this show, I want to say this. If somebody from Disney is watching this, I want you to listen to me very closely. You would shut a lot of fan channels up on YouTube that crap all over everything you guys do, whether it's good or not, or bad or not. Book of Boba Fett's good. Mandalorian's good. Okay? Rogue One is good. All right? They don't appreciate this. They make a lot of money by not appreciating it. And, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. Rage sells. They sell fanboy rage porn. Okay? You know, I come from a very Machiavellian carrot of the stick approach. If you do good, you get a carrot. If you do bad, I'll smack you upside the head. Okay? Right now you're doing well. If you go public with what's going on at Lucasfilm and publicly announce layoffs of people who have caused so much damage to the brand by treating the fans like shit, like Pablo Hidalgo, his wife, Kristen. You know, you've got Nat Martin, all these people who have not done their jobs, who have brought in, you know, don't try to convince me that the High Republic is successful. I can go and look at, what is that about, Rajfer? What's that got to do with this shit? Listen to what I'm saying. There are so many people at Lucasfilm that have caused an inordinate amount of damage. And publicly telling them they're done, out, go, would shut up a lot of really annoying people, would elevate the conversation, which is where I want it, would make the conversations about what we're watching deeper, and basically give people a choice. Do you want to be permanently angry? Or do you understand that the people who caused all this trouble are gone now? Okay? Here, they're gone. Pablo's gone. He's done. They fired him. You know, I mean, here's the question. Why did we have to find out Carrie Hart was fired, and she was, through research and YouTube hysteria? Why didn't you just put it out there? I have to read it. I do have to read it. Cameron wanted me to, or I told Cameron I would read it. And I'm gonna, you know, I want to know, again, why Kathleen Kennedy's contract status can't be public knowledge. You know, we get it from Puck. Okay. That's fine. We can't get other things, like we can't get, you know, official word. It's a rumor. That's bullshit. You know, rumors. Pablo's gone, Pablo's there. Pablo's gone, Pablo's there. How about we get him gone and it being official, okay? Give the fans something to be happy about. Now, I'm going to say this. I do not celebrate people losing their jobs. But the fucking bullshit that we have been through for the last, since October 2012. And it's hurt the brand. It drove people away. Getting rid of the EU and then Kennedy lying about them not having books or comic books to use was, I mean, you know, she knew. She knew! Why is this tolerated? Okay, do it publicly. Because guess what a shiny object is? Pablo being public on Twitter, acting like he's still there. Okay? And people, you know, WDW Pro saying he's still there. Other people saying he's not, no one knowing the status, and him not saying a word about it. Okay, the only reason why we knew that Chuck Wendig got fired is because that fat fuck went on Twitter crying about it. And he deserved it. He deserved it. You know, we talk about Gina Carano being told she's not welcome back for talking about politics. We do have an example of it working the other way. That the boss at Marvel told Chuck, you know, you are bad on Twitter. What you did was wrong. You have to go. All right? That was a big deal. Because he is literally the woke king of bullshit for the story group. Okay? That bearded, ugly... Anyway. But let's talk about the angry people. Again, if they went public on cleaning house at Lucasfilm, it would I think the haters would shut up on the show. I think they would shut up. I think they'd be like, okay, fine. Now, point of contention. Tamara Morrison, who I think is a really good actor, by the way, basically said that Slave One is now called the Fire Spray. Everybody's losing their shit. All right. Me being Machiavellian is like, okay, we're gonna stop and lose our crap over this. Okay? I'm not here to fight little wars. Okay? Over something at the parks I give no fucks about. Okay? This will probably be straightened out some other time. All right? We don't know how they're going to do it. All right? We don't know how we're going to do it. You know, we don't know what it means. Okay? You know, so if it's an intrinsic part of the story and makes sense, I'm not going to be like Ryan Canal or and act like an asshole about it. Okay? Nor am I going to run around convincing people who've never read the EU that they should be mad. Now, do I think they should change the name? No. And if they do, there better be a goddamn good reason beyond woke points. So, if the name is changed to reflect the change and the maturity of the character of Boba Fett, fine. Again, we go back to a flashback of him on Camino, laying in bed, and seeing the Slave One leave. That's his dad, or whatever you want to call Django. There's something about a connection between his father and him, as he's basically is his father. He is a clone, okay? And despite being an altered clone in the EU, it appeared that he was basically, he had issues because clones, even perfect ones, will have genetic defects. Okay, so you've got, and I think maybe the Bacta's about that too. You've got Sarlacc injuries. You probably have PTSD. He's thinking about Camino. Maybe he's now thinking about trying to find that Kaminoan doctor to help him, because maybe the injuries are not, or his health issues are not merely Sarlacc related, but maybe they're genetically related. Okay, that is something we have to consider. All right, so if they hate it, I can't help them. I don't know what to do. I really don't know. I don't know what they want. They don't want things to change. Yet again, Han Solo going, evolving back into who he wanted to be was fine. But Boba Fett maturing and growing and giving up bounty hunting to be something bigger than he was. He was a paid thug. He was a paid fucking thug that people glorified. Okay? Because he had a cool uniform or a cool set of armor. When you look at it, it's like, I don't even understand what the problem is. But again, there's a defect in how people watch movies. You get the TV show, it's that much. The book is that much. Okay. And when I tell people, if you want to know the background, get the books. Get the books. Because they will tell you what might be going on. Because a lot of this is lifted from the EU. Hell, They stole, I mean, the story group stole Black Chrysanthemum for that cunt dyke Afra, whom I still think that they should have Han shoot. Having the alpha male of all in Star Wars blow that pitch away would be so freaking awesome. I would laugh so hard. Oh my God, the wailings and lamentations. Their tears would be awesome. And it would be great. And to add what Troy is saying, thank you, Planet Musk. And to add what Troy is saying, again, carrot or the stick. If they do well, this is good. It might not be the greatest, but I think the story is getting more intriguing. They get a carrot. If you get Dr. Aphra or the Stoned Republic, they get a bitch slap. That's how you do this. You know, what did JPEG say in his memo? Give the fans what they want and listen to them. And that, to me, told me shit's gonna happen at Lucasfilm. Okay? So, to the people that are about everything, you know, again, I don't know what you want, but there's a defect in how people watch movies. When I took the history of film and lit, we had to watch a lot of movies. Clockwork Orange, and a couple others, and you know, actually several others. Just know that the sequels are dead, and this show is proving it. Don't ever say that again. The sequels are dead. Repeat after me. The sequels are dead. The sequels are dead. They're retconning it right now. Okay? All this stuff being lifted out of the EU, the sequels are fucking dead. No Kyle Ron. Don't sit there and listen to people saying that they're not going to get rid of it. They spent too much money. Those movies only netted about $2 billion. Disney, and I know no one's listening to me on this, the people that want to sit there and listen to, you know, that group over there, you know who I'm talking about? Disney invested about $10 billion, all told, not only into Lucasfilm, but in Star Wars, and have only made about $2 billion. All right? If they'd have taken the $4.3 billion and put it in the bank, they'd have all that money. Okay, that's how bad this is. That's how bad this is. Okay, so when I hear people saying, they're not getting rid of the sequels, duh, I'm like, because they've earned so much money? Oh my God. Again, if you listen to Cameron and you listen to Andre, and they're on right now, so I gotta get going here. You're gonna see shit that's been in the pipeline that is going to explode. We still have another phase of fucking High Republic. Oh, it's not even fluff, it's pig swill. I mean, it's lizard monkey dung. You know, it's garbage. You know, I mean, you know, you have to understand. If Hasbro doesn't want to buy the licenses to make vaunted Kyle Ron dolls or figures and Rey figures, if they've spent so much money on them, and, you know, Target took a bunch of orders and couldn't sell them and had to send them to Ollie's, I have the proof. All right? That's a big deal. I mean, I looked at a stack of Soilo, a Star Wars Stories playsets that no one wanted. all right, that Target and Walmart couldn't sell. But people are telling me that the sequels aren't being retconned and disappeared. Look, people like me have money. I have a director, Krennic, coming right now. Troy, do you want to take care of this guy? Because he's a moron and he's not listening to me. No, they won't include the sequels. They're retconning it. And thank you, Troy. You can't sell this stuff. All right. Bob Chapek comes from the merchandise side of everything, which is a bad thing according to some people. The bottom line is getting people like me to want to buy it. If someone sent me a Kyle Ron figure, I'd take it out to my fire pit and set it on fire and watch it melt. I've done that with the Holdo one that Dave Pensack sent me. I had my horse shit on the Funko Pop he sent me of Holdo. You know, that garbage is not worth it. There's no reason to want to collect it because A, they're stupid characters that don't belong in Star Wars. There's no reason to want it because it's not going to gain any value, and they're uninteresting. And they're literally a symbol of woke dumpster fires that the sequel trilogy, High Republic, and the story group created. So why would a collector like me want it? Same thing with the Galaxy Cruise Line, the hotel. I'm not going there. Like I said yesterday, I am going to have dinner with a bunch of friends, a bunch of Star Wars fans, and we order our drinks and we're looking at the menus, and all of a sudden, some asshole who stole Darth Revan's costume walks in. Yeah, well, it's what it's gonna do, and I believe that is it's going to exist in its own universe. I think what we're getting, and I don't know if I like it, but when I think about it, it's probably the only way they can do this without basically causing a lot of problems, long-term problems with, the woke folk. Is they're probably going to use the Veil of the Force, put that in one place, and have a multiverse like they're doing right now. Now, it's marvelizing things in some ways, and yet it's not. Okay. But yeah, it's if look, if the sequel trilogy characters can't sell, if they can't get people to come to the park, all right. If they're getting mocked for the High Republic, why on earth would Disney, with Bob Chapek and Susan Arnold running it, why would they want to spend more money on it? And why wouldn't they want to change it? Again, go back to Chapek's memo. Listen to the fans, be hyper-focused on what they want. I don't want Claudia Gray writing any more books. I don't want that racist Justina Ireland writing any more books. Okay? I want them gone. I don't know. I mean, this is 5 years after ROTJ. I assume Ahsoka will. See, what they're doing is they're dovetailing everything. They're going to dovetail things, which makes sense to me. And it kind of, but back to the hatred of the show. I really think people, I think it's an unsaid, unmentioned Gina Carano issue, and they have got to get over her. They really, really do. In fact, the chick that played the female Tusken should just take Carano's spot. All right? There's no reason why that show can't be made without Gina. She, again, and I'm going to say this about the slave one thing. It is a shiny object to get you to look at in order not to see the bigger picture. Okay? It is not a hill to die on. We have said our piece about Gina. I know about Chapek got pissed. Kennedy was basically blasted into oblivion over it. I haven't listened to it and I don't want to be honest, John. Yeah, and I think that she'd be really good. I think that she's a stunt woman. She's tough. And I think that she could handle that. No, I think he's recuperating from injuries. Like I said before in the stream, I believe that the Sarlacc left him with chronic issues, but I also think if you look into the EU, that he probably has genetic issues too. And I'm going to say this. If this ends up where he runs around looking for that Kaminoan doctor because she's still alive to help him, what does that open up? This is what I think it opens up. It opens up Luke somehow. Well, he's already got Grogu, and the Republic has got Moff Gideon. So they know that there's a cloning issue going on, and they've also got the doctor that they were using. So, but something is going to lead to a point where the main story Luke, Han, and Leia, heir to the Empire, Ahsoka, Boba, Mando, and he got out himself and then Dengar found him. I think that's how it went. I haven't read that in a long time. I would say probably sooner. It's gonna take a while to get to the point where they can actually do a feature movie. But we are probably gonna see this resolution with a flavor of Heir to the Empire with these other stories. Coming in, okay, and it's going to give it, I think, a more of a well-rounded feel, and they have to do it, I think, this way, because there's been so much damage to the brand, and it doesn't help. Again, going back to something I said before, that we're not hearing what's going on. Okay. And, to me, I was pissed off about Gina. I dropped my Disney subscription. And then when Boba Fett came out, I've had it for a while. And I don't watch it all the time. In fact, I think subscription numbers say less than views. Okay. And I honestly think that Disney maybe should have gone to a Sony model and made a deal with Netflix. Okay, this streaming thing, Bob Iger's opinion, they all had to jump on it, and I'm like going, it's okay, fine. But listen, I gotta go. But again, to the haters, please give this show a chance. You are all smarter than this. And to the EU people only giving half the story, what is wrong with you? I mean, even someone who hasn't read those books in a while, I know that there's more to Boba's story about how he escaped out of the Sarlacc and his injuries. He didn't come out kicking ass. So quit lying to people. Okay? Quit lying. That's bad. This is not the same person. And I'll tell you something else. To the people who think he's all powerful, there was a man under that armor, not a superhero. And I really think the superhero genre has hurt movies in general. And I agree with Scorsese and Coppola and others that it's time for it to go, and audiences to grow up a little bit. I mean, cotton candy for the brain bores the shit out of me. And the Book of Boba Fett is nothing like that. Okay? I mean, this isn't a complicated story. It isn't. But you gotta think a little bit, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with putting your brain to work, because it opens up all kinds of possibilities. It opens up a place that you haven't been in a while. Okay, maybe never. Okay, I didn't, get, a minor in literature to just not be able to analyze what I'm watching and try to see where it's going. Okay, where are there things I do differently? Yeah, I probably explain the Bacta. All right, I think they should do that. Maybe they will. I don't know. But to the haters, I don't know what you want. I don't know. This show was a filler, but seeing Danny Trejo was great. Seeing that Rancor and was like, wow, that fight with Black Chrysanthemum, holy shit. I mean, but again, I know there's going to be naysayers screaming that Fett didn't fight back. Well, first off, he'd been in the Bacta tank, recovering. Healing from whatever. How's he supposed to fight back? He's not wearing his armor. He doesn't have any weapons. He was basically pulled out of that thing like a rag doll. Okay? So I think the complaints. Oh yeah, you're right, Carlos. It actually sounds like Qui-Gon Jinn. I think the complaints are unfounded, and they're not based on logic or intellect or the story. There are people out there that are demanding they get what they want and feel like they're not. And there are people out there that are making, we know who they are, a ton of AdSense money, screaming and getting people riled up. It was filler. That's it. The show was just filler. Anyway, I gotta go. So you guys be good. I gotta go get some lunch, which I'm gonna go do. And I'll probably be in the chat in Midnight's Edge. See you guys around the galaxy. And to the haters, please try to be intellectual about your complaints. Try to find a really good reason. Try. See you around the galaxy.